So hi, Ida, yeah, and thanks for joining today. And I guess we can start by you telling us something about where you are right now.
Yeah, I'm in Sweden, my country of origin. It doesn't look like this. I wish it did, but it's there are mountains where in the further north that looks maybe something like on that picture. But at the moment, I'm in Uppsala, at
Huh.
north of Stockholm, and so in the Nordics, we're kind of getting spring by now, but it's rather cold. So I have wear a woolen hat. It's a sauna hat.
Hmm.
So when it's getting too cold, I like to go to the sauna. So I thought it was suitable.
Perfect. And so, what do you do?
I'm a researcher at the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences, the SLU, which is a university has several different campuses. So the main campus is here in Uppsala, and then is a campus in the south where I actually work, and there's a forest faculty, which is my employment. It's also located further north. So it's a widespread university for Swedish standards.
Interesting. Okay. So I can hand it over to the pirate for today, I think.
Yes, thank you. Very nice to meet you, Ida. I'm the pirate. And maybe we can talk a bit more about practice theory, because as you know, this is something we're all working with. And maybe you could tell us a bit more about how you first encountered practice theory.
Yeah, that was during my doctoral studies. So I've got my doctoral degree 8 years ago now, but back in 10 something years ago, I was a doctoral student at the same university where I'm now. And I was struggling quite a lot. I was going to research about forest ownership and forest planning and the future of the forested landscapes of Sweden. And I was doing a lot of interviews with forest owners and different key actors. And I was I was looking for different theoretical concepts and frameworks in order to describe what I was observing in the interviews. And so this is then around that time, there was a book published by some scholars in Wageningen in the Netherlands. So the book was called Forest and Nature Governance, a Practice-Based Approach by Bas Arlt, Jelvi Hagel, Sabrina van Bommel, Jeske Koenig, and Esther Turnhout. And I really liked the book in general. I thought it was describing aspects of forest governance that had not really seen before. And they use these three sensitizing concepts of logical practice, performativity, and situated agency, which I thought I didn't really use in the end so much in my PhD thesis, those concepts, but I kind of based as a practice-based approach a bit, managed to get it in there into my thesis. And then later on, published an article looking more into situated agency and logical practice in forestry in Sweden. So that's how I came into it. And then I realized, of course, there is a much bigger world of practice-based approaches out there. And then I was reading more and more. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, super interesting. Thank you. And you also mentioned that, there are lots of theoretical lenses out there. So maybe you could describe what really attracted you to practice theory in particular in your work.
Oh, I thought it was difficult to always choose, like, okay, do I want to do an institutional analysis or a discourse analysis? And always thinking, all of them has an influence, like how we talk about things make a difference. How the formal informal institutions are important. But I also saw that there is so much in forestry that has to do with tradition and just do what you've always been doing. So the kind of the modus operandi of people is it's just the default. And I thought this was something that was not captured. So I've always felt like I could so discourse analysis, I can understand the trends, but I could not really understand how that then became planning and actions, forest management actions. So then I thought there was a lot that could be explained by this is how we do things. We've always done this, and there's a logic to it that is inherent in the practice. So there was a lot about these things, and yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you were talking a bit about forest ownership, forest planning. Maybe you could extend a bit more on the ideas that you're currently working with.
Yeah, so for the moment, it's been quite some years now after finishing my PhD 8 years ago. I did a postdoc in Germany, and I got in touch a lot with more practice-based approaches, but I didn't have the possibility to really implement. So that's why I came back to Sweden a couple of years ago, and now since half year back, I'm in projects again, looking a bit to the same issues. So now we'll see how it works out. I'm once again doing interviews with forest managers, forest owners, and I'm once again attracted to these, to the practice-based approach. But the projects are not really formulated that way. So we will see how much freedom I will have in the publications to see how I can use these, because I think I think in the interviews there's enough material for that. But it's not pronounced as a practice-based approach or project at all.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So kind of coming maybe full circle to practice theory. And with that, yeah, I pass it over to Elizabeth, our anthropologist.
Yes, great. It's great to meet you. And before I become I am an anthropologist. I'm interested in tribes for today, anyhow. But what kind of world do you live in, or how much connection do you have with which populations, agriculture or social theory, or where are you? Which tribe are you part of?
Yeah, I'm part of many tribes, I have a feeling. Traveled widely, and then you pick up on different and get to different identities. I have transformed. So I'm, especially since I'm back in Sweden, I'm very much more based in the forestry community. I'm educated as a forester, and came in contact in my master thesis with social sciences more, yeah, like theoretically, and then managed to apply that in the PhD thesis. But so then I went from being a very forest management, very practical oriented tribe, which is practice oriented in itself, and then came into the more forest policy research community, which is a rather distinguished community in the sense of there is international organizations and all the institutions you need to build a tribe. Yeah,
Okay,
socialization.
But some of these tribes have very different ideas. I mean, the policy tribe is not the same as a. How do you navigate between tribes?
Oh, that's an extremely good question. I have different hats, or different attires. And I think I mainly mix them when I teach. When I teach forestry students about forest governance and forest policy. And then you really have to think how you present social science concepts in a way that is accessible to someone who will go and practically manage forests. I find it's an interesting challenge, and I think in that I try to use as many practical examples as I can. In the teaching, some years back, I developed a role play that has worked very nicely to kind of give a practical experience of what it is to have a participatory governance system. So using a lot of reflection, using a lot of questions to bring the students to that knowledge as well. And personally, I I can live in both worlds, but there are seldom that they combine as much as they do in the teaching, to be honest.
Well, as long as you're not homeless as a result, that's
No,
fine.
I feel
Okay,
I have.
so well, we're coming
different
to
lives.
an end, and we would really like a souvenir from you. I'm from Sweden as well. So, do you have something to give us to take on our journey?
I do. I have this little thing. It's I should not use it because it's fire. I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's a storm lighter.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I was hiking summer, and you always need a fire that can make a fire even when there's a
Excellent.
storm on the open sea. And metaphorically speaking, sometimes we need to light our fire in difficult situations. So I thought you would need this.
I
thanks a
think
lot.
we need it. I think we need it. So send us a picture and we'll
I'll do that.
add it to you. Okay, so then we'd like to know where to go next. We're on the ship. And where would you send the ship?
Oh, I know a great scholar in Australia, Simon West, who I think you will have a great chat with. It's far away though, so you can also, in this house, there is also another scholar who is experienced with practice-based approaches, and his name is Kristoffer Söderqvist.
We can travel. We can travel.
So you choose, stay in Uppsala or go to Australia.
No,
Great.
that's fine. Okay, well, really, really nice to visit you, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
It was lovely chatting with you, and have a safe journey.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.